Hey, yo, what's up? This disciple Marcello Currents reign back up against anti-Illuminati all day, anti-America all day. So this message basically is going to be about um, not taking. This is the introduction. Not taking the perspective of the older generations as far as war. They're not. Your mothers and parents are not going to understand the wars that you're going through. They're going to say, "Baby, that's not real. That's all your imagination. It's not really like that." And because you love your parents and you love your family, you'll be sitting back thinking this halfway doubting what you're going through, are not focused. You will still know it's real, but you're not as focused because someone from an older generation doesn't understand the level of evil that the world has come to. The older generations will never understand. Some of them will, but overall they never will. So you can't wait for them to agree with you. You can't wait for them to understand the capacity of what you're going through because they're not out here. The older people get, the more reclusive they become. This is just being honest. This is not picking at any certain person or people, but the more older you get, the more reclusive you become. The more introverted and reclusive you become, more out of touch with reality. You don't really realize the perspectives of the community. You don't realize, like I said, how evil it really is. So for younger generations, we have to make sure that we don't take their perspective because they're not out here. Literally, they're not out here in the streets. They don't hear how the people talk. They don't know how modern perspective really is. They don't know the ins and outs of it like you do. They don't know the dark places of it like you do. So especially Christians, you can't take. See, because what Christians would do, young Christians would do, you would get counseled from older Christians usually, and that's what a lot of them will give you bad advice and inaccurate advice about what's going on. All these seasoned ministers out here, many of them do not know about the wars that we're going through. They don't know because they're out of touch and they're more reclusive and more introverted based on their age, not as a personality. Because when you become older, you automatically become more. That's part of being old. You become more reclusive. You become more introverted. So how could you understand what's going on? How could you understand the patterns of gang stalking? How could you understand the psychological warfare that is going on in America? Because you're not getting enough of the pattern. That's a 7. You're not getting enough of the pattern to understand what psychological warfare is in our country right now. You're not seeing the pattern enough, long enough to understand the gang stalking that's going on. So if you don't if you haven't seen enough of the pattern, and you haven't seen enough of you haven't seen enough of the rhythm of it, then you can't possibly uh, uh, advise the young spiritual Christian warriors. Now, some seasoned Christian ministers have used wisdom and they have taken heed to understand what's going on. But some of y'all will never understand the highest levels because you're not, and that's another message I'm going to get to. You're not militant minded. You're still a civilian. You have to cross over into being a militant minded person. You have to. Some of y'all say y'all soldiers, but you know what that means? You are militant minded. All right. How are you going to be a soldier and you're not militant minded? Make it make sense now. Make it make sense. How are you a soldier, but you're not militant minded? This ain't no game. You're either a soldier or you're not. You're either militant minded or you're not. So that's what you have to understand is America will demonize you if you're militant minded because they don't want people, their civilians, to cross over to being soldiers. So you think the American government wants y'all to become soldiers? I'm talking about real ones. I'm not talking about fake ones. I'm not talking about people with an attitude. I'm talking about militant strategists. Yeah, I'm talking about the real ones. I ain't talking about you running around with an attitude with a gun. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about real militant strategists that's able to survive for years on the battlefield. On a real battlefield with real danger and real death. You think they want you to become like, they want you to become like that? Of course they don't want you to become like that, because that's a threat against their power. So you have to understand the government is a community in itself. It's not connected to you. It is not connected to you. They are their own society. For all the secret societies, what you need to know is the government is a society too. It's a secret society too. They are their own society. And so this is what we're dealing with. You have older Christians trying to counsel young Christians, and they can't. And the young Christians are scared to tell them that they're being gang stalked because they're gonna think you crazy. You're scared to tell them of the level of psychological warfare that you're going through because you're gonna think they're crazy. They're gonna think that they think you're crazy. And you can no longer hide it. It's a new era of psychological warfare and gang stalking. It's no hiding it any longer. It's all out war. And America has, and this is what you all need to know at this point right here. I'm glad I'm saying it right here. You have to know that America has to suffer for its psychological warfare and gang stalking. They didn't listen. It's a liability. Their community has become a liability to their government and their overall whole country. They have done so much gang stalking that it has become a liability to everybody. Now you understand. That means famous people that's sitting back watching. That means homeless people that's sitting back watching. That means the middle class and everybody else and the rich people sitting back watching. It has become a liability to you too. Oh, what you thought you was going to sit there and watch? You thought you was going to sit there and watch Americans do evil in your country and God is going to do nothing. God is going to do nothing. So God is going to do nothing? You're telling me God is going to do nothing when they're gang stalking Christians. See, this is the next level of warfare. See, all these famous ministers, they can't tell you that Christians are being gang stalked in America. Specifically, not Muslims, not Hindu, people that practice Hinduism, not other religions. They are literally, specifically targeting Christians. If you have YouTube messages on YouTube, they're targeting you. If you have any messages on YouTube, they have a network that finds all of you and gang stalks all of you. That's why you're going through what you're going through. And see, all these famous Christians that have not all of them, but many of you say, well, I don't know what problems they have with America. I don't know what you have against America. Oh, you want me to start? Let's begin. They got 50 states with gay marriage. They got 44 states with child marriage. 3 years ago, they just passed their last child marriage law that allows adults to marry children at any age. They got the world record for the lowest age of consent at 7 years old. They was having sex with 7-year-old girls in the year 1880 in the state of Delaware. That's their full record. That's what people got against America. And last but not least, the systematic gang stalking and the gang stalking culture that the police turn a blind eye to and that the military is turning a blind eye to. Yeah, they can't do nothing about it because it's a white problem. Let it be a black problem and see how quick they get rid of it. See, it's a white culture thing. Black people didn't make it up. White people made it up. No disrespect. I'm not racist, but we gotta be specific. I'm not racist. I'm specific. If it's white people doing it, it's white people doing it. If it comes from white culture, that's what it is. And that explains why the FBI, and that's why it explains why the military and the police have no tactics, have no control, have nothing they can do. Nothing they can do. They ain't doing nothing about it. Let black people do it. Let Arabian people do some of it. Let Arabian people do it. Let Middle Eastern looking people start gang stalking. Oh, I bet you they get a hold of it. That's the 7th hour. Hey, let people from Iraq come over here and start gang stalking. Boom. You see? And that's why I'm going to do a video about this. Let people from the Middle East that look like terrorists because they're just from Arab descent. They're of Arab descent. Let them come over here gang stalking. And let's see how quick the police and military get a hold of that. That's how you know. You know I'm right or I'm not right. So you telling me if Middle Eastern people came over here, clicked up together, right, and started gang stalking, you don't think they'll do nothing about that? They wouldn't be able to do nothing about that. You lying to yourself. They ain't doing nothing about it because it's white. It's a white culture, and the white culture is paying them off. The white culture is making them turn the other way. They might have black people in it, but it's still white culture. Just like you have hip hop. You might have Eminem in it, but it still is black culture. It just because Eminem is in it don't mean it's not black culture. Just because black people is in gang stalking don't mean it's not white culture. And you got to leave behind the perspective of the young, the old generations. Many of them cannot keep up. Many of you don't even need to explain it to them because all they're going to do is fill you with doubts of what you already know. They're going to fill you with doubts of what you've already seen 1,000,000 times. You know it's real. You don't need nobody to tell you that it's not. Okay? I've talked to police. When I went to jail, I went to jail for something, for a weapons charge. I armed myself. I believe in being armed, right? So the last time I was in jail for being armed, simply being armed, right? The police and I was having a conversation about the gang stalking, and the police say, yeah, it's bad. So the police know it. So you gotta stop worrying about what your mom and your dad is telling you. The police know it's real. That's all you gotta know. The police know it's real. So stop worrying about what your daddy and them talk about. Stop worrying about what your mom and them talking about. Because they don't know no better. And stop worrying about what these famous preachers with the same traditional preaching messages, with the same traditional style of preaching and perspective on spiritual warfare, the same old washed up, refried bean perspective on spiritual warfare. You need to get rid of that. And you need to start knowing what's going on and be relevant, spiritually speaking, warfare speaking. You need to be relevant war-wise, spiritual-wise. You need to be relevant in order to defeat your enemy. And I'm not talking about being part of the culture. I'm talking about being relevant concerning the information on your enemies. Don't let these traditional speakers tell you, well, I don't know what you got against America, when they're gang stalking Christians at this point. When they're gang stalking Christians, they don't know what you got against America. I heard prophetess Juanita Bynum say this, and I respect her, but this is what she said. I don't know what y'all got against America. I don't know what you got against America. That means to me, she has become, even though she might have her ear to the streets, she's become reclusive as far as the rhythms on the gang stalking and the psychological warfare. She's reclusive according to the social aspect of our community. And no disrespect to her. No disrespect to her. But we don't need people out here saying we don't know why. You don't know why what we have against America. We don't need that soundbite coming from an influential person like that. That's an unwise soundbite when your brothers and sisters here in America are being gang stalked. It's happening. It's not mental sickness. It's not psychosis. It's not. We're not suffering from schizophrenic paranoid. This is real, right? And that's what they try to do, is make us look crazy. But it's too much of it going on. The police talking about it. Oh, so the police crazy? So okay, so we can settle it that it's not mental sickness. That's a 7 hour. We can settle it that it's not mental sickness when the police talking about it. So with Juanita Bynum, I respect her a lot. I've given to her ministry a lot, but I have not really listened to her because she had lately, because she said she don't know what people got against America. She don't know what I just named it. How come you can't see that? They got 50 states with gay marriage. We can pray for gay people, but we cannot be a part of gay laws. We serve a God of laws. This is a permanent situation that has cursed the country. Okay? God is a God of laws. We know that. God does not play when it comes to laws. So how do you think you feel about gay marriage in all 50 states of America? Not your opinion, God's opinion. That part. Now, next, you got 44 states with child marriage. A lot of Christians these ministers don't know that. You got 44 states with child marriage. Child marriage now. Why everybody's showing images of babies and how close they are to children, right? You got child marriage at the same time simultaneously in America. That's a 7 hour. And then you got the last child marriage law that was passed under the Donald Trump's administration. It was passed under Trump's administration. Child marriage. The last child marriage law was passed under the Donald Trump administration. How fitting for such a crass person like him. You should have figured that out. Well, it shouldn't surprise you is the better thing to say. Not sure you shouldn't have figured it out. But it doesn't surprise you. Donald Trump has his administration was the last administration that allowed it, and big as his mouth is, he ain't say nothing about it. He talk about everything else, from LeBron to Rosie O'Donnell, but he ain't saying nothing about this though. That's what we tripping off of. How he can talk about everything else, but a child marriage law been passed under his administration now, not nobody else's administration. He ain't said nothing about it. That's what we tripping off of right there. That's what we don't like about America. And its playtime is over. We can't be halfway in, halfway out with America. See, now your walk with God has begun to separate you from your government. Now your walk with God has begun to separate you from your community. Now your walk with God has begun to separate you from the very thing you've loved all along. And we're going to see who make it to heaven or hell. We're going to see who make it to heaven or go to hell. Because, see, you should have knew that the devil wasn't going to let it be this easy. Oh, you thought you was just going to have your little prayer life and have your little worship and fasting life over there in the corner, right? That's what you thought you was going to do. It's done turned up. It's done, and he using all kind of tricks, right? He using these tricks to take your very salvation. Because how can you have an alliance with a country that's marrying gay people in all 50 states? How can you be in alliance with that? That's sending gay lifestyle is sending people to hell. Won't you tell the truth? So how are you going to have alliance with a country that has 50 states with gay marriage, which is a lifestyle that sends people to hell? How are you going to have an alliance with that? You can't have an alliance with it, and that's how the devil's sophisticated on you. Yeah, he's sophisticated on you to now you can't even be a part of America. Oh, I know. You thought Christians could be with America to the end of the world. Like y'all was going to be holding hands. You should have knew that. How you going to be holding hands with America to the end of the world? Make it make sense. You know that we're day by day separating from America. Well, now you realize that is all the way to a full mature progression to where we are now totally separated. And you up here talking about Prophetess Juanita Bynum talking about she don't know what we got against America. When we're constantly, progressively separating every day from them, from our lifestyle because of their lifestyle. Our lifestyle is separating from them, separating us from them every day because of the stuff they're doing in their lifestyle. So how can you actually join and say, America, you don't know what we have against America? You're the body of Christ. You're the body of Christ. You have to come out the fame and all of that and all this love for the people stuff. That part. You got to come out of all that love for the people stuff. And you got to start worshiping the Lord with your lifestyle, with your disciplines. with your lifestyle and disciplines and what you abstain from. You should have knew the new generation was going to be harder than the past generation. We harder than them. We harder than them. They got to follow our lead. When MLK came on the scene, how old was he? In his 20s, and Malcolm X, how old was he? In his 20s. Malcolm X and MLK passed away when they was 39, both of them. Both of them was 39. They wasn't even in their 40s. And the whole country was following them. See, what y'all do in the American community, you got to wait till you 80 years old to get respect. Malcolm X wasn't 80 years old. Malcolm X was 39 years old. MLK was 39 years old. He wasn't even 40 years old. I'm 41. When am I supposed to get my respect? When I'm older than Malcolm X and MLK. When am I supposed to get mine? That's what I'm talking about, man. So we cannot follow the generations of the past. We cannot follow they don't understand the psychological war that we're going through. They don't understand our war with America. They don't understand what's going on. They don't understand it. So we got to leave that perspective behind. We got to follow this perspective. America is the enemy based on their own decisions to follow sin, to follow the gay lifestyle, to marry children. They marrying children. Yeah, many of you don't even know this. Many of you don't even know the American government settled out of court with Martin Luther King Jr.'s family for conspiring against him. They conspired against him. It officially happened. They went to court. The American government went to court in December 1999 for conspiring against Martin Luther King Jr. They did it. They did kill him. You had hunches. I'm telling you, they did it. You had, this hunches, these intuitions that you have. I'm telling you, they literally went to court and settled out of court for conspiring against him. And you were saying what we got against America, all of that stuff right there, all of that. That's what we got against them. See, they trying to use they use influence and stuff. They manipulate and try to turn people against you. That's what they did to Louis Farrakhan. I'm not a Muslim, but I see what they did to him. They try to turn everybody against him because he was telling the truth. Look at it for what it is. That's what it is. And they try to do the same thing to me. That's how they get you with character assassination. They try to do that too. Character assassination. Playing games like they still in high school, yapping and yapping and yapping. But this time they can't yap and win. Because I got them on 44 states with child marriage. I got them on 44 states with child marriage. I got them on 44 states with child marriage. So how they gonna win? Huh? Tell me how they gonna win. You almost got it. So that's the real problems, the real issues. And if we don't realize this, we'll be sitting back talking about, well, maybe we should join them. Maybe we should just keep interceding. How you gonna intercede when they got permanent laws of gay marriage? How that's gonna turn around? Ask yourself this. So I'm gonna keep campaigning about this. I'm gonna do more videos. I'm gonna do another video about this. I'm gonna do part 2 on this, so I can go more deeper in this. You can't take the perspective of your mothers and fathers and the older generations when it comes to warfare.